Download and upload more than ever before with an ultra-fast fiber connection. With 3 simple steps, you can be the one with an SLT fiber optic connection. Visit slt.lk.
Tonight, no signs of backing down. Customs trade unions threaten to scale up trade union action unless their demands are met by Tuesday. Busted social media party. Over 80 persons arrested for narcotic-related offences at a party organised through Facebook. Cleansing of a sacred site. Initiative launched by Derana to rid the Sripada range of rubbish. Tall order. Sri Lanka staring at a mammoth 516-run target in the second test against Australia as more bouncers await. All that and much more coming up on First at 9 this Sunday, the 3rd of February 2019.
From Ada Derana, this is Ada Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamike Kanayaka. Let's start you off with your local stories. The only way to preserve the natural environment in its full glory is to disturb it as less as possible. One of the issues the country continues to tackle is garbage being strewn about at natural ecosystems as well as places of sacred importance. The Sripada range is both sacred and an environmental treasure. With that in mind, our humanitarian arm Derana launched a cleaning program today at the Sripada range, also known as Adams Peak, which is attracting thousands of devotees at the moment owing to it being peak season. The World Heritage Site was cleaned under the Derana initiative. We also have our own Indiviri Amuatta giving us some information regarding the initiative.
Many devotees from across the country and around the world visit the Adams Peak, locally known as Sripada, where Buddha is believed to have left his footprint at the invitation of the deity Saman. Sripada, which is celebrated as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, is an internationally acclaimed biodiversity hotspot. Due to polythene dumped by thousands of pilgrims who visit the sacred range annually, the sensitive ecozones in the range have faced with a serious threat. As a result, the Derana humanitarian initiative launched Derana with the intention of educating the devotees and cleaning the range, which was conducted today. Team Derana reached the Sri Sumana Purana Mahavihara temple located in Ratnapura Eratna route on Friday. In parallel to this program, a roti and tea dansal was organized this morning by Team Derana together with various other organizations. Garbage accumulated on the sides of the Ratnapura Eratna route of Sripada range was cleaned today starting from Haramitipana. Several civil organizations along with Derana provided their support to this initiative.
මාධ්‍යායතනයක් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් කරන්නේ ජනතාවට විනෝදාස්ස සපයනක. නමුත් ඊට අමතරව මාධ්‍යයෙන් කරන්න පුළුවන් තව විශාල කොටසක් තියෙනවා. එක කොටසක් තමයි මේක. මේක ඇත්තටම සංකේතාත්මක වැඩක්. මේකෙන් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ජනතාවට පණිවිඩයක් දෙන්න. අපි ඇත්තටම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා සිරිපාදේ තැන තැනකට කසල දැමීම 100ට අඩු ගානේ 50කින් 60කින් අඩු කරන්න.
It has been a long journey for us here at the Ada Derana and TV Derana as well as the Derana team to spearhead and initiate this cleanup project to clear up the sacred area of the Sripada. Of course, we're cleaning up a 9-kilometer stretch from Haramitipana downwards, and this area we have a lot of support of university students as well as pilgrims who are joining this trip atop to worship the Sripada. Of course, I'd like to talk to the chairman of the Derana project, Mahesh Ravadana. I think this is a great project. Manusat Derana has been spearheading a lot of cleanup initiatives, but this, I think, is quite special for us.
Yeah, actually, under the Manusat Derana program, there are so many CSR, corporate social responsibility program we have done. I think this is a very special event because when we are going to the Sripada Kuruvita Ratna Road, it's a very difficult road. Manusat Derana team and the other staff of Amrita, we came to Haramitipana area. Especially, we build awareness to the people. Do not throw out garbage, especially polythene and the plastic.
I think Manusat Derana has constantly given this awareness and a message to the Sri Lankan people. Of course, we trek this dangerous route to worship Sripada, and of course, keep your surroundings clean, maintain the serenity and preserve the beauty of the site of this pilgrimage. You did mention about the sponsors, but I'd like to talk about them.
Amrita Dali Butler Company and also University of Kalani Department of Marketing Management. There are nearly 50 students with us, and also Joe Stewart Rosa Kahata and PHI Association in this area. They help us to do this project successful.
This is an astounding crowd too. Is it because of the Manusat Derana campaign?
Yeah. Definitely.
Thank you very much, Mahesh. Of course, as I said, there has been a large number going up this road. We took the Kuruvita Eratna road, a dangerous trek. We climbed this overnight, but of course we've made it atop to the Haramitapana area on the Kuruvita Eratna road, where we started this project this morning. Of course, as Mahesh Javadana just mentioned to you, let's preserve the beauty of this sacred site of Sripada, where both locals as well as foreigners trek on a daily basis to worship the sacred left footprint of the Lord Buddha.
Meanwhile, Dr. Anand Mallavatantri, the country representative of the International Union for Conservation of Nature, who joined our studios in Colombo this morning, recognized the campaign as the first step in the mammoth task towards conserving Mother Nature.
The peak wilderness area plays a very key role in our nature, culture and heritage. The whole area is the beginning of our rivers. If you don't pay enough attention, we are borrowing from our future's resources, and we will not have resources for future generations to enjoy. Now, we have seen landslides in Sripada area. At the same time, we hear a lot of new research findings that the plastics is impacting the nitrogen cycle. That means the crop productivity in agriculture. All these plastics, they are very lightweight. They float in lakes, they go up to the ocean, affects the marine life, reduce the productivity in the ocean, as well as develop a lot of other additional problems. We can be proud that we have addressed that problem, and then we can make the Sri Lanka really beautiful, like what Derana is trying to do by addressing the plastic pollution.
Now, President Maithripala called at the residence of fallen Sergeant S.S. Vijayakumara, whose life was claimed during a peacekeeping mission in Mali. The President also paid respects to the remains of the late Major H.W.D. Jaivikram yesterday. The late Major and the Sergeant were killed on the 25th of January, while 3 other Sri Lankan soldiers sustained injuries during a UN peacekeeping mission in Mali. The flight carrying the remains of the 2 Sri Lankan Army personnel will arrive at the Bandaranaike International Airport tomorrow. Now, there was much talk in the political arena recently, especially by politicians representing the opposition parties, that former President Chandrika Kumartunga will be establishing a new political party, or in fact might even join the United National Party. Following a long silence from her part, the former president responded to those rumours following an event in Nittambur yesterday. She vehemently rejected rumours of her plans to leave the SLFP to join the United National Party.
I haven't made any political statement for 3 months now. Both President Maithripala and opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa, as well as their supporters, claim that I am to establish a new political party or will join the UNP. All of these statements are completely false. I would never leave the SLFP or establish a new party. I will, however, try and uplift the destroyed SLFP. Meanwhile, security officers attached to the former President Chandrika Kumaratunga interrupted several journalists, including other Derana reporters, who were assigned to cover one of the events yesterday.
Changing the subject, the usage and influence of social media in modern-day society is on an upward curve, with many people arguing for and against it. Even some things, as organising parties, are now done via social media platforms due to its broader reach. One such party in Hinguraggoda last evening, organised through Facebook, is in the news for all the wrong reasons. A crackdown saw a total of 89 persons being arrested for the use of possession of or use of illegal narcotics at the party.
Police raided a party organised through Facebook which was held at a hotel in Hinguraggoda last night. The raid was conducted following a tip-off received by the police. During the raid, police found many illicit drugs in the possession of people attending the party, including opium, methamphetamine, also known as ice meth, and cannabis. Accordingly, 89 persons who attended the party, including 6 women, were arrested by the police last night. Among the 89 arrestees were 4 drug dealers. Among the 89 arrestees, 85, including the 6 women, have been released on bail today after being produced before the Hinguraggoda District Court. The 4 drug dealers and the hotel manager who was apprehended today were remanded until the 6th of this month.
The Customs Staff Officers Association threatens to step up their trade union action if the government fails to address their concerns by Tuesday. Speaking to First at 9, they said that customs officers will withdraw from essential services on Tuesday if solutions are not forthcoming. The ongoing trade union action was launched by the Joint Customs Trade Union on Wednesday, objecting the transfer of the Director General of Sri Lanka Customs, PSM Charles, who was later replaced by a retired Navy officer.
The 3 major trade unions at Sri Lanka Customs, Customs Staff Officers Association, Customs Officers Union and Customs Superintendents Association continued their Work to Rule campaign for a 5th day today against the appointment of the new Customs Director General, retired Rear Admiral Shamil Fernando. The protesters also continue to demand the reinstatement of the former Director General of Customs, PSM Charles. Customs Trade Union Alliance states that as per current laws and regulations, position of the Director General of Customs can only be held by a special grade officer from the State Administration Service of Sri Lanka Customs. The operations at the Customs headquarters as well as the container examination terminals at Orugodavatta and Paliagoda have come to a standstill owing to the trade union action. Trade unions say that clearance will be made only on perishable cargo such as potatoes and Bombay onions and medicinal drugs during the trade union action. Trade unions also claim that they have arranged a meeting with several other state sector trade unions on Tuesday. They went on to emphasize on their decision to engage in a broader trade union action from Tuesday onwards unless a solution is granted by then.
The trade union actions initiated by Joint Union Alliance of Sri Lanka Customs is continuing for the 5th consecutive day. Our demand was to the reinstatement of Ms. PSM Charles, who was unjustly removed from her position as the Director General of Customs. If government fails to solve this by the Tuesday, we are planning on starting joint trade union actions with other trade unions such as Inland Revenue and other public sector unions. In the coming days, there's a possibility of shortage of essential items. If such a situation arises, the government should take the full responsibility of this situation for not taking prompt action to resolve this problem. We are planning to have discussions with the Essential Commodities Importers Association to see whether we can prevent from arising such a situation. However, if the trade union actions are increased or continued, a rising of such a situation will be inevitable.
Owing to the ongoing trade union action, Sri Lanka's economy has incurred losses from 80% of its revenue since last Wednesday. It is in this backdrop that the Essential Food Importers and Traders Association announces that all wholesale shops in Petta will not be open for business on Tuesday. Speaking to Derana, Secretary to the Association S. Ilamanathan also warned of a possible shortage of essential goods by next week if measures are not taken to provide immediate solutions to the concerns of customs officers.
Now, in the meantime, opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa calls for the immediate intervention of President Maithripalapala and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in resolving the issues which are giving rise to the trade union action at Sri Lanka Customs.
අසාධාරණ ලෙස රාජ්‍ය සේවකයා මාරු කරන්න බෑ එක එක ඇමතිවරුන්ගේ වෙනත් අයගේ උවමනාවන්ට අස් කරන්න පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. ඉතින් මේක බොහොම පැහැදිලිව එක්තරා ව්‍යාපාරිකයන් ආරක්ෂා කිරීමට කරපු වැඩක්. මේක මුදල් ඇමතිවරයා තමයි මේක කිසිම ගාණක් ගන්න නැතුව ඉන්නේ. එයාලා දැනගන්න ඕනේ. ඇමතිවරයා නැත්නම් අගමැතිවරයා මේක ගැන ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න ඕනේ. නිදහස් උත්සවයේද ජාතික ඔව් ඉතින් අපි දන්නේ නැහැ මොකද්ද කියලා. මම අසහභාගී වෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මම සහභාගී වෙන්නේ මේ මොකද එදාට අර යුද හමුදා ඉදිරිපත් කරන හදපු පළවෙනි මිසයිල් අරගෙන යනවා. ඊළඟට පළවෙනි මල්ටි බැරල් තුවක්කුව ප්‍රදර්ශනය කරනවා. ඒක ගෞරවයක් රටට අපේ කාලේ පටන් ගත්ත එකක් අවසන් කරලා තිනවා. මැතිවරණ වර්ෂයේ තමයි ඉදිරියේ තියෙන්නේ. එයිද මැතිවරණයක් ගෙයි. අපි ඉන්නේ කැමති ඕනම මැතිවරණයකට. අපි සූදානම්. කොහොමද ඉදිරි වැඩ පිළිවෙල සවතුමාගේ? සූදානම් කියලා තිබුණේ. ඔව් ඉතින් ඕනෙලාක සූදානම්. ඕනේ එකකට අපි සූදානම්. ඉතින් ජනතාවත් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඔව් ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා නේ. එහෙමනේ අපි යුද්ධයේ ජනතාව බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අපි කරා. ඒ වගේ තමයි වැඩක් බාර දුන්නොත් අපි වැඩ කරනවා. අපි වැඩ කරන අයනේ. කතා කරන අය නෙමෙයි.
Now, the President of Maldives, Ibrahim Mohammed Solih, arrived in Sri Lanka today ahead of the 71st Independence Day celebrations tomorrow. The Maldivian President will attend the official ceremony tomorrow as the guest of honour. He was welcomed today by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and Minister of Foreign Affairs Tilak Marapana at the Bandaranaike International Airport. During his 3-day state visit to Sri Lanka, President Solih will hold discussions with President Maithripalapala, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe as well as several other ministers on charting the course for future Maldives-Sri Lanka bilateral ties. Marking the 71st Independence Day of Sri Lanka, over 500 prison inmates will be released under a presidential pardon tomorrow. Now let's take a look at some other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
5 Slovakian nationals who attempted to smuggle gene samples of hundreds of endangered species, plants and insects from the Singharaja Forest Reserve were arrested by wildlife officers attached to the Kudaveva entry of the Singharaja Forest yesterday. Officials had also seized sophisticated cameras, drones as well as containers with animals and plant samples. The suspects will be produced before the court on Wednesday. 4 Maldivian nationals were arrested for allegedly recording footage of the Bandaranaike International Airport, a high-security zone, from above using a drone. Police said that the arrest was made at Damminnagahavatta in Katana last night. Police officials attached to the Katana police are currently conducting further investigations into the incident. In a surprising turn of events regarding the disappearance of the 4-year-old girl at Saliveva in Putlam last Wednesday, the mother of the child has confessed that she had strangled the child, whose body had been later thrown into the Kalaoya river. The 21-year-old mother was arrested by the Karuwalagasveva police and handed over to the Saliveva police station. Following the confession by the suspect, several teams of Navy and police divers commenced their search operations in the Kalaoya in an attempt to recover the body of the child.
We've got the nitty-gritty of the world of business coming up next on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is Derana 24.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, Central Bank of Sri Lanka is currently in the process of drawing up a national financial inclusion strategy with the objective of increasing financial inclusion in the banking sector of the island. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, made the announcement while addressing an event held in Colombo recently. Dr. Kumaraswamy also highlighted the importance of continued stability while moving from current status quo to a digitalized banking sector driven by fintech.
The National Development Bank of Sri Lanka became one of the first banks in the country to adopt digital transformation by migrating the customers to a digital paperless platform to perform all banking activities. The bank's first phygital proposition, NDB Neos, was introduced with the launch of the branch in Fort, where the physical presence of banking staff is coupled with a digitized experience. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, who participated in the occasion as the chief guest, highlighted some of the key aspects banking regulators are currently focused on.
With the advance of fintech, the challenge for us as regulators has been to try to balance the advance of technology, to embrace it and not to hold it back, while at the same time ensuring there's stability. In Sri Lanka, we have 26 licensed commercial banks and 6 specialized banks, so 32 banks, lots of bricks and mortar. So to move from the current status quo to a digitalized banking sector driven by fintech has to happen, but it has to happen with stability. As far as fintech is concerned, the central bank has set up 2 committees which have already delivered their reports, one on fintech, another on blockchain, and we are in the process of working our way through implementing the recommendations. In looking at fintech and banks, you see that fintech has the technology and is driving technological change, and the banks have the customers. So that the challenge is to bring the 2 together, and the self-banking, the digitalization, the paperless journey, all these things clearly are signposts to where we need to go in the future. And of course, the central bank is attaching high priority to financial inclusion. In fact, we are in the process of drawing up a national financial inclusion strategy, and this technology, I think, can serve the objectives of increasing financial inclusion very well.
Now, taking a look at the market forecast, market analysts forecast that foreign interest in bonds as well as stock markets will be weak owing to volatility of the Sri Lankan rupee. The currency ended at 180 rupees and 19 cents against the US dollar on Friday, and it has appreciated 3.4% so far this year. The all-share price index, meanwhile, ended 0.13% weaker at 5,982.05 on Friday. We now have Dimantha Matthew from First Capital Holdings with this week's market forecast.
Despite the weak macroeconomic fundamental, we started to see a bit of foreign inflows coming into both the bond and stock markets, as the rupee also started to appreciate on the back of a weak dollar. The rupee appreciated about 3.3% year to date. On the stock market side, we are likely to have continued buying interest with the strong valuations that are prevalent in the market. However, foreign interest in both the markets may be weak with the volatile currency that is there at the moment. However, in the bond market, we are likely to see rates slightly increase with the lower reserve position that is there.
Time to have a look at international news. Now, thousands of protesters have taken to the streets of Venezuela's capital, Caracas, in support of President Nicolas Maduro, as well as his self-proclaimed interim successor, Juan Guaido. Guaido said the country's opposition movement would carry on in the streets, while Maduro told his supporters that he was the only president of Venezuela. Guaido declared himself president last month and is backed by the US and several Latin American countries, while Russia and China back President Maduro.
The standoff between President of Venezuela Nicolas Maduro and his self-proclaimed interim successor Juan Guaido began days after Maduro was sworn in for a second term. Guaido, who is head of Venezuela's National Assembly, says the constitution allows him to assume power temporarily when the president is deemed illegitimate. Addressing thousands of supporters in the capital Caracas, Guaido said protests would continue until his supporters achieve freedom. However, a pro-Maduro crowd gathered to mark the 20th anniversary of the rise to power of his predecessor, the socialist leader Hugo Chavez. Thousands of Venezuelans living in countries across Latin America in the meantime rallied in solidarity with protests organized by the political opposition in Caracas against the government of Maduro. From Bogota to Buenos Aires to Lima, Venezuelans headed to plazas and other public spaces to voice their support for opposition leader and self-declared interim president Juan Guaido, as well as his efforts to force Maduro out of power and bring humanitarian aid into the ailing South American country. Meanwhile, yesterday Maduro proposed bringing forward parliamentary elections to this year as he seeks to crush the threat posed by Guaido. The parliamentary elections had been scheduled for 2020.
India has made a diplomatic protest to the United States after 129 Indian students were arrested for enrolling in a fake university. The University of Farmington, advertised as based in Michigan State, was run by undercover agents from the Department of Homeland Security to expose pay-to-stay immigration fraud. Prosecutors say that those who enrolled knew that the facility would be legal. The students face possible deportation if convicted. However, Indian officials say the students may have been duped. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs yesterday issued the protest to the US Embassy in Delhi, expressing concern over the arrests and demanding consular access to those detained. The ministry said that they are concerned over the dignity and well-being of the detained students and reiterated the need for immediate consular access for Indian officials to the detainees. The fake university had been set up in 2015 in an attempt to catch foreign nationals who had initially traveled to the US on student visas and wanted to stay in the country. Now, Pope Francis arrived in the United Arab Emirates today, becoming the first pontiff to visit Arabian Peninsula. The Pope has been invited by Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan to take part in the Interfaith Conference. The landmark trip will also feature a Mass on Tuesday that is expected to draw 120,000 people. The visit will be carefully watched for any interferences to the war in Yemen. We've got sports news coming up on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel. This is Other Derana 24.
Now, Sri Lanka is faced with the near impossible task of scoring 516 to win the second test against Australia. At stumps, Sri Lanka was at 17 for no loss, chasing a mammoth target to win with 2 days remaining after Tim Paine declared Australia's second innings at 196 for 3. Dimuth Karunaratne, who returned to play after being hit by a bouncer by Pat Cummins, as well as Lahiru Tirumana, were both unbeaten on 8 before bad light stopped play slightly early.
When the day's play commenced, Dhananjay De Silva and Kusal Pereira, the two overnight batsmen, raised hopes of putting up a spirited show, but Kusal retired hurt as he was struck down by a short ball from Jai Richardson by being hit on the side of the grill. Dimuth Karunaratne, who received a nasty blow on the neck on day 2, replaced Kusal. Karunaratne soon reached his 50 but didn't last long as he was caught in the gully. Then on, Sri Lanka started to collapse slowly as no batsman was able to hold on for too long, ending the innings on 215. Australia in their second innings also had a bit of wobble as Kasun Rajitha struck twice, with Fernando picking up one to reduce the home team to 37 for 3. At that stage, Usman Khawaja and Travis Head scored an unbeaten stand of 159 as the lead swelled past the 500 mark, with Australia declaring the innings. In pursuit of a mammoth target, Sri Lanka ended the day's play on 17 for none.
And that's it from all of us here at First to 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.